Okay.
Oh, man.
All right.
Hello and welcome to Two Girls, One Pod. I'm Crystal.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Tina.
And of course, before we forget, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and listen to us wherever you can get your podcast. And don't forget that if you want to see all of the fun stuff that we get into, we're on YouTube as well.
We're so much fun to watch. So much
Absolutely.
fun. Yeah.
But we are a little bit late doing this one.
Why?
So you know what? I don't know. I'm usually the one that's kind of running behind, but
Yeah.
I felt proud today that, I wasn't the one a half hour late today.
Right. And not only that, like I was sitting here, I was in the truck and I was like on the way in and I was like, oh man, I might be late. And then I'm like, nope, I think I'm going good. I was here and I was 5 minutes early. And then I just sat down at the computer and then we were just like, where the fuck is Melissa?
Yeah,
So
all right.
folks, if you're listening, Melissa was the one who was late today.
But you probably know, listeners, if you were looking at our Instagram, check it out,
Yes,
Melissa.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Melissa, have you seen any of them?
No, I'm gonna look. So we all agreed that we would record this at 1:30. Okay. I'm just gonna make myself feel better. We were supposed to record this Thursday night, and we're 3 days late because Crystal was tired. So there you go. Now
that is true. That's a good point. That's a good point. I'll let you go with that one.
Okay, we rescheduled. I said 1:30. We all agreed on 1:30. And then at 1:35, I messaged the group and said, running late. But okay, I had a real estate emergency. And if you're one of my clients, you're welcome. I put you over the girls. I put you first. You put
That's a good point.
Absolutely, folks. This is the service and commitment you'll get when Melissa is your realtor. So
right, exactly. So I'm just saying, yes, I am late. Shut up, Tina. All right. If you're listening, you really should watch us on YouTube. All right. What am I looking at here? So the girls want me to go check out Instagram because the whole time I was putting out real estate fires, not actually.
We were putting out content is what we were doing.
We were
so bad. All right. Where do I have to look? In my messages?
You could just look in our stories.
Go to the story.
Our own stories?
Crystal? Yeah, our stories works. Yep.
All right. So
everything is shared there.
Yeah, everything.
We may need to cut this out of the actual audio part because it might just be a little bit boring. But let's see. There's a picture of Crystal with her hand on her chin. Is there a song involved in this, Crystal?
No, but
it says chilling, waiting on Melissa this time. While Tina and I are waiting, we're waiting. And there's a little girl in the corner or a woman checking her watch. So thank you for that, Crystal.
You're welcome.
What does Tina say? When you're finally not the one who's late for the podcast, and she tagged us. Thanks, T. Thanks for that. First time for everything. Okay, guys, there's a first time for anything.
They get better.
Still waiting on Melissa. Crystal might be on duo instead of trio today. Come on, we goes. Yeah. And that's the audio if you guys can hear it. If you but I guess you can.
We can a little bit, yeah.
The last one was Crystal dressed up like a dog singing the song from Rent, which super appropriate.
It was.
I think that should be our next reel.
It is.
It is already.
Before we get into the Big Brother, though, I do have a special guest.
Yes.
Cut out Crystal wanted to hop in and say hello. So if anyone was following the Instagram story Friday, we brought Crystal along on a little bit of a outing
adventure,
a few drinks, and what?
We hit George Street, and Crystal didn't want to go, so we made her.
So I made her. So cut out Crystal is right here.
So I gotta tell you, I laughed and laughed and laughed. To the point of crying.
For our audio listeners, not on YouTube, what we did, so Crystal, Tina and I went out for a couple of beer on Friday, and Crystal was out of town, so she obviously couldn't go. So Tina cut her out in cardboard, and we took her downtown. So we had beer and nachos. She made friends. She hit the strip club. She sang karaoke.
She got pretty wild Friday night, I gotta say.
she's a handful.
I mean, it's like, whoa, slow down, Crystal.
Yeah.
Right.
So we shared
So
it in
anyways,
stories.
She just wanted to pop in and say hello. So
Yeah. I think we
I-
should keep her there all the time. Just put her in the background.
Right.
there you go.
I feel like the funniest part about it was I said to Jason when I showed him the picture, I was just like, look at what they've got done. And I was like, you know what the worst part is? It's like they picked out the picture where I look the absolute fucking stupidest. And I was like,
I'm not taking any credit for the photo. The photo was sent to me.
Okay.
shocker.
Okay.
But the funny thing is that my husband frequently loves to take like the worst pictures of me, and they're always with some stupid look on my face. So I was just like, yeah, this is like, why didn't Jason just send this to you?
It's an accurate depiction of what you're like on a regular everyday basis. We got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely.
But no, so I'm defending myself again now because I sent Tina that picture first, but it wasn't the right size the way that I sent it. So she's like, I need another one. So I sent her another one where you looked glowing. You were beautiful. And she said, well, that one works, but it's not as funny. Can you send the other email?
I mean, I got to tell you, it's comedy gold.
It is. It was, I mean, we had the waitress. I mean, she was bringing cut out Crystal drinks. I mean, it was great. Crystal
Yeah.
enjoyed nachos, music, the whole works.
Yeah. You
Yep.
were not gluten-free that night. You shit your
No.
pants.
You even did a bit of karaoke. Karaoke was horrible.
That
but
wouldn't be it wouldn't be outside of the norm for me because I do love some karaoke.
Oh, it's why we had to go in there.
Well, I was a little jealous actually. I was just like, you took Cardboard Crystal, but I couldn't go.
no, you didn't go. Nothing. That's right.
That's true. I didn't go. I'll
So
go next
folks,
time.
If you would like to see the adventures of Tina, Melissa, and Cardboard Crystal, I think we're going to make a highlight of it. So we'll go ahead and put it on our highlight reel on our Instagram so you can follow along over there. And and I guess in the future, anytime we go out, we're just going to take her with us now.
I think so. Yeah. Even if Crystal comes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'll be funny.
mhm,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay. With that being said, we are here. You probably haven't realized yet because we're talking like we normally do. This is a Big Brother episode.
It
So
is.
thank you for tuning in. This is an unofficial after show, which I know we only have like one left after today because finale's this week or tonight. But I think that we should nickname our show for our Big Brother after show. It should be called Three Noofs on a Pod.
We could.
Huh?
Absolutely.
Hey, why not? Hey.
Oh, and before we go forward, Tina. So I got Scarlett saying yes, bye. And I say to her, I was there and I was like, Scarlett, what are you at? And she goes, this is it.
Train them young. Train them
We
young.
got to.
Yeah, I love it. So, all right. Quick notes for Thursday's eviction episode.
You. This time.
Guys, see, I'm late, but I'm prepared ish.
All up here.
Mhm.
I named it. I named this note. I named the episode When Four Become Three. And it was so beautiful. It was such a good
Four
episode.
become three.
Is this like a throwback to like when two become one from the Spice Girls? Like what's happening here?
Instantly sang it in my head. When
Of course, because that's what happened
It
in my
just
head that
sounded
time.
love like I never knew. That was a flashback to us singing karaoke with Cardboard Crystal.
What did you sing?
We didn't
Nothing. I just stood there by the mic.
Yeah, we posed with the picture. Well, they had a private party booked. So we knocked on the door. They had a private party booked there. So they were only letting in guests that were like on the list. It felt very
Oh,
so when we went in, we were like, listen, our friend is here. We showed him Cardboard Crystal. We're like, she couldn't get out like tonight. This is her only night out. We don't want to sing. We just want to get a picture of her singing on the stage. Like we just need a So they sanitized it. Like they were very careful, like COVID, like friendly. So they let us in. We had our masks on before we hit the stage. They sanitized all the microphones. And then like we got up, we took our masks down, we did the picture, and then they came back and re-sanitized for the next
Yeah.
people. And like we left. I was like, that's
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I think maybe we would have sang something if
if it was open.
yeah, Tina was
Yeah.
ready. She was warming up, doing scales outside.
I don't know about that.
Okay. So we're back to Big Brother. So this is the episode where Kyland, Big D, Xavier, and Azza become three. They cut one. And at the beginning of these notes, we don't know who's going. At the end of these notes, we're so fucking tickled. So maybe I am. Me? Were you guys pumped with this episode?
I don't know that it was pumped because I think I expected.
Did
Yeah.
you?
I expected that he was the one that was going to go.
Yeah.
But I mean, the last 2 minutes were like, oh,
Sweat.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's start at the beginning. I did say, so at the beginning, we're watching Kai talking with Big D. And Kyland is like rotted because he didn't win the final veto. Okay. Big
Yeah.
D won the final veto. Kyland is, trying to say, hey, Big D, like we've got this agreement. You're not going to send me home, right? Or no, fucking not Big D. Xavier won the veto. And Kai was trying to make sure that Big D, if it was up to him, kept him.
Yeah.
And Big D wouldn't give him a straight answer because you know what? Kyland, like 2 days before the veto or right before the veto, wouldn't give Big D a straight answer and say that
Mhm.
he's going to keep him. So my note said, watching Kai get a taste of his own medicine, talking to Derek F is just making me so happy.
Yeah.
Like he's very, very much, and we see this, we've been seeing it kind of all summer. And
Yeah.
now this episode is like, okay, the light has been shed. Kai is someone, he's a Sookie baby. He can dish it out and he can't take it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the show. I don't know personally.
That's right.
But
I
the
just
way-
kind of thought, like, why didn't he just tell him, like, the other day when he was asking him, like, you're at a point in the game where I feel like you just need to let
Well,
people
You just
hear
need
what
to
they want to
agree,
hear.
right? Like, the answer is yes. Right?
Always.
When those questions get posed, the answer is yes.
When there's 4 of you left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will you take me to final 2? Fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Even if it's a big no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Savior who? Right. And then if you don't win veto like he didn't, you might have a little bit more security,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I
For sure.
I enjoyed seeing that because I was yelling at my TV when Kai was telling Derek, oh, I don't know. And oh, I don't want to talk about this now, and getting mad and leaving the room because the conversation wasn't going his way. Like Sookie baby.
Yeah.
That's what us Newfoundlanders call cry babies, I guess. We call them sooks, right? So yeah, I think he was being a big sook, and it was nice to see Derek Fraser giving it back to him.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, what I did find super surprising was how much Big D struggled with sending Kai home. So at the beginning of that episode, he was really struggling internally. He's like, I don't know, like Ozza's my best friend, but me and Kai have had like this showmance and we've been best friends and we had a final 2. And it's like, dude, your literal only chance of getting first place is Ozza between the people who are left.
And it could be the edit too, right? Like it could just be how it was kind of chronologically done in the edit.
Yeah.
I honestly think that after Colin kind of gave him the roundabout about the final 2, when they, had that conversation, I think that was setting. What are you laughing at, man?
Somebody
Jesus.
popped in Crystal's window. We're distracting Tina. Sorry.
Train of thought gone.
See, this is why you need to watch us on YouTube.
Yes, folks, watch us on YouTube.
On YouTube, people.
Yeah, so I think that was Colin sealing his fate with Big D at that particular point. I don't think he really struggled as much as maybe what it was portrayed.
Yeah, and that was probably beforehand, like you said, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ozza and X. Sorry, Crystal. Did I cut you
Nope.
off?
Crystal.
Nope. She's like, I'm good.
No,
Ozza-
we just bring cardboard cutout.
She probably got more to say.
We could just put like Crystal's whole chat box away and just put her in there with Tina.
Right?
Oh my. Yeah. So I thought that like, okay, so I have a note there that says Oz and X both say that they're going to take Big D to the end. Oh yeah. This is me yelling at Big D. When I write my notes, I write them at who I'm yelling at on the screen.
You write them what?
My notes when I write them. So like this one, my note said Ozza and Big D, or Ozza and X both say they're going to take Big D to the end. Like, dude, vote him out. Not to mention it'll be a shit move for his resume. So that was me talking about Derek Fraser if he kept Kylan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not make any sense out of my note that time. Hi, puppers. Tina has a dog. I feel like I'm like, if you're listening to this, Tina is now playing with her puppers.
All right.
So we're talking to.
She was sitting there crying. I was just,
Oh, little muffin.
just being the nice mama.
Keep her up.
I just think like I still think that it would have been a stupid move for him to keep him anyway. Like, I don't know
God,
why
yeah.
he was even thinking, like, don't get me wrong. I think he has done a lot more in the game than probably we've even been able to see. Like, and even when he was talking to Azza about, did you hear my door slam that time?
Guys, this is
Continue.
what happens when we record before like 8 p.m.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
no joke. Like, for a
No,
10-year-old girl who's like 50 pounds, she slams it like she's friggin' going out for, you know what
that was Jason.
no, it was my daughter. Anyway, so
I digress.
as I was saying about, I don't know.
We were talking about Big D considering keeping Kylan.
Yeah, but I mean, then he was like talking to Azza, and he was just like making her feel like a bag of dirt because she was just like, you don't know what I've done for you. And truthfully, she doesn't. Like, you never told her anything. So how could she, you know? But I don't know.
It also frustrates me. Like, yeah, Big D, you also don't know what Azza did. Like, maybe she did nothing, maybe she did everything. We don't really know everything that she did. All we
You'll
know.
never know 100%
No.
everybody's kind of moves in the game or anything, because
Exactly.
feeds are down or it's just not what's shown. So yeah, I mean, they could have equally done the same amount for each other.
She won an HOH, Big D. How about you sit down? Like,
Right?
just sit the fuck down. Because the
Yeah.
way that I look at it, listen, and I mean, Tina, you mentioned this the other day. It's like, just getting picked for the house is one thing, and then you
Yeah.
get in. Making it week by week after week, like, those are not accidental moves. Like, you can call a floater, you can say this person did this or that, but at the end of the day, the people who are in the final 3, final 2, final 5, whatever,
Yeah.
they're there, not us. So we're a judgment show. We sit and we talk about this and we judge the moves and everything else. That's all well and good. But like, Big D can't, full on call out Azza and say, like, I did more in this game for you, when she's still there, buddy. And
Yeah,
she's
that's right.
the biggest competition out of the people who are left. Like, she's the one who is a toss up. Like, if he's next to X,
He
I'm
loses.
pretty sure X is gonna win, right? If he's next to Kai, I think, although when we see the jury, I think maybe it would have been 50-50, who knows. But like with Azza, like, they played the most similar game. So like, he can't say, oh, I did all this much more than you, to her face. Save it for
No.
the hot seat. If you make it to final 2, then throw it at everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, aside from that, it's like, when you think about it, he's sitting here now telling her all of the moves that he made on her behalf that she didn't know about up until this point. Well, maybe she had just as many that he didn't know about, because clearly they
But
were
the thing
keeping
is,
something.
you got to be careful about what you say at that point too, because if he's sitting side by side with, if he's sitting alongside of Azza in the final 2, I mean, I don't know if that's going to happen, but if that actually happens, then he's just given her a bunch of ammo
Yeah.
that she can now contradict and start preparing her statements for when he starts throwing out all this information.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful what you kind of say, knowing that all these points are what you need to sell yourself at the end, right?
Yeah.
So, he's probably should be keeping his mouth kind of shut a bit.
Yeah.
Not smile, Big D. But we know he's not somebody to nod and smile. Like, he's just not.
No.
Right. But one of the notes that I did make about their argument, because they're both arguing about how they deserve to be there. And again, they do, but they didn't bring each other to the final 4. The fucking cookout brought them to the final 4. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if they weren't in that alliance and that alliance wasn't doing something for the greater good, if that was just like, an alliance where, as they started to annoy each other, the alliance broke apart, I don't know that either of them would be where they are now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, they have the cookout to thank for a lot of their game, right? Because I think Tiffany and Big D would have went at each other long ago.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Yeah.
And Azza, I feel like Big D probably would have been voted out before Azza in this game, because I do think that she was very much under the radar. So if the cookout didn't exist, I think Azza still would have made it really far. Just kind of, nobody ever looked at her as a threat. So she could still have a very, very good shot at winning,
Never say never, right? Like, there's a 3-part HOH coming up
tonight. It starts tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So like when we were discussing this Thursday night, because tonight is Sunday, and after we talk about this, I'm just gonna fucking upload it. But when we were talking about this Thursday, when we were watching this all play out, we had said like, okay, well, there's an episode Sunday, and then we think that like Wednesday would be the finale. But they did like their recap episode Friday, where
Yeah.
they show the whole season. And then Sunday tonight starts the first part of the 3-part HOH. And then Wednesday is the rest. Wednesday's finale. We see them meet the jury. We see who gets booted out, who the final 2 are. Oh, all the juicy stuff. Sorry, I'm
All
really
the juicy stuff.
I said that Derek really is an emotional player. I don't know what other note I had there. So the entire jury disagrees with Kylan's move this week. I don't know what I'm talking about with this note. I don't disagree with them. He may have won a lot of comps, but he didn't make the best game move. Okay, so they were talking about where he sent out Hannah or Tiff.
Oh yeah, probably.
Who did he send out?
Hannah was the last one. So
Yeah. So anyway, but the jury basically thinks that Kylan wasn't making. No, I think they were talking about when he sent out Tiff, because it was a double eviction. So he
Right.
sent out Tiff, and the jury was talking about how like he's not making the right choice. No, maybe it was Hannah. It was Hannah.
well, he didn't. It was him and X that voted Hannah out because they had the votes.
right.
They were the only 2 voting people.
That's what it was. He kept X. So the whole jury house, I'm glad we backtracked that. Super glad that we can't edit this episode. Cool. But yeah, so Kai basically kept X over Hannah. And the jury thinks that by him doing that, that was not an actual power move. That was a wrong move.
Because he took him off
Oh,
the
it
block,
definitely
remember?
was. It definitely was, because if you think about it, had he taken X out at the time,
Mhm.
then X would now be where he is headed to.
Yeah.
And it would be Kylan's, Kylan would be taking X's place right now. So he would have been better off doing that.
Yeah.
He would have.
They said too, which I agree with, like he's got this mentality, or he had this mentality of like Superman versus Batman. I want, like, he saw Xavier as like this big amazing player, and he saw himself as this big amazing player, and his ego is what got him in the jury house, because he thought that he was better than all of these other people, and no way were they going to beat him. And I'm going to sit in that final 2 chair with Xavier at the end of this. And he was wrong. Anyway, but the jury saw that. The jury had a lot to say about Kylan. I do not think that he was as loved in that house as what we might have thought he was on TV.
I mean, I think that it seemed like they respected his gameplay to a certain extent and how well he did in certain things, but SB is super sour grapes.
Oh yeah.
Well, you gotta remember, like, these people are in jury now. There's really nothing on the line for them. So they're sharing all the information between each other. So there's a lot of stuff that comes out within the jury that kind of opens people's eyes a little.
Yeah. And it's like the big thing that SB was saying was that like Kylan played her on another level. And I mean, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, but in her eyes, she was, his number one. And she believes that there were things that he told her and ways that he played her that were above and beyond shielding the cookout.
Yeah.
And
it was unnecessary.
That's why she's sour. 'Cause she's like, I put my trust in this person. And he had these like lies that didn't actually do anything for the game. Now, maybe he was lying to her and it was because it was helping something else. We don't know. But, from her perspective right now, she's mad, right? And now he's got to go see her in jury.
It's going to be an interesting jury segment when he walks in through the doors.
I'm so excited to see this tonight. Maybe I'll have to have another drink. I don't know. I drank like 4 times last week. I think that's why I felt so good after Tina and I had beers, because my liver was just used to it for a week. It's nice to see Tiff explain the cookout to the jury as well. So like,
it was.
At this point, it was just everybody outside the cookout. So to watch Tiff come in and be like, guys, this is how it formed. This is what we did. This is how it happened. I really enjoyed watching that.
Yeah.
And I love how they keep referring to her as the mastermind. I love that.
She was
because it's true. She was.
It is. It's so perfect. It really is.
Yeah.
So regardless of her not getting to the end, I mean, she's definitely top.
Yeah. Like she
She'll
will go
be
down
remembered.
as an iconic player, like Big
Yeah.
Brother history. She'd be
Yeah.
one of the best.
For sure.
The Fury into yeah. So when Hannah came in and they watched her get voted out, because they do the video in the American one. The Fury in Tiff's eyes when she watched Hannah get voted out, it made me fall even more in love with Tiffany. I was just looking at her like she was a mama bear. Like she was watching that, like, okay, you voted me out, I'm here. But like when she saw Hannah get voted out, like you could see the fire. Like she was mad about that.
Because from a game standpoint, it just didn't make sense. Like,
that was her.
now's the time to get the bigger targets out, right? But
yeah.
Man, I love Tiffany. I'm so mad she's gone. I know we're at final 3, but like it was supposed to be her and Xavier. Like,
It should have been.
I would like to point out that when we first started, I think maybe our first episode of this season, I called it that Big D would make it very far. And I think Tina said he was going to be out pre-jury.
I probably did.
Yeah,
I will let you know because I've got it written down.
I probably did.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, and again, it goes back to the statement you said that had it not been the cookout and their, goal and, something for the greater good, then I think he would have been pre-jury.
Sure. Just use my words against me.
No, I'm just saying.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Predictions from very beginning of the season. I wrote them down, people.
Well, of course you did.
Love
Of
it.
course. So we all had this moment of final 3s where Melissa said X, Hannah, and Travis.
Oh,
Yeah. I said Brent, Derek, X, and Xavier. Tina said Xavier, Hannah, and Claire.
Oh, that was
We
because
all-
you had Claire, didn't you?
Yeah, she had.
Oh yeah, I had picked Claire because that was my draft pick. So
Right. But interestingly enough, we all had X in our final 3s, and all of us unanimously assumed that he would be the winner right from the beginning. True story. It's all right there. It's in blue and white.
Of course, it's gotta be. It's gotta be. And if you're listening to this and not watching us, head over to YouTube because Crystal shows us.
it's this 3-part HOH is going to throw a wrench into that too, because if the third part of the HOH, okay, like I'm predicting that it's going to be X and
Azza.
in the final part.
Who? You froze up. Like for real.
X and like for real? Okay, because you guys froze up on my screen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that X and Azza are going to be in the 3-part HOH.
Yeah, I think so too.
If the third part of the HOH is a comp where it's all about dates, days, all that type stuff, and it's more of a quiz than physical, I don't know. Azza could pull it out.
Yeah.
Which it usually is.
And if she does, because I don't know how much they've been studying their days, but if she does pull it out, Derek F would be the guy that she should take.
Oh,
100%.
So could it happen? Could it be,
It could.
I mean, everybody's assuming that X is going to be in the final 2, but I mean, you can't kind of toss that out yet.
No.
I'm like, so the ex-lover that I am, like, I love Xavier.
I mean, I'll be shocked. I'll be shocked if he's not final 2.
Oh,
but-
yeah.
But the Big Brother fan and like the good TV person in me kind of really wants that to happen because I love a twist. I love when things are changing, and so I mean, I'm literally for every outcome. I want Xavier to win. I want him to be in final 2. I want him to take home the prize. But I also love an underdog. I also would love to see Azza win and her big move to take it. I swear to God, if Azza wins final 2 and takes out Xavier, she beats Derek F.
I agree.
For sure.
Oh, definitely. Because that is the biggest game move, right?
Like it's very hard to not give the prize to the final HOH winner. Like that's
a lot of it does come down to that. I mean, you look at everything throughout the season, but a lot of it does come down to, decisions made in the latter half of the game and the final HOH. Who takes who?
Yep.
Right? Yeah. Who pulls out that big win when they need it?
Yeah. And who makes the easy choice if they pull it out? Because we've seen people win final HOH and not win the season because they made the wrong decision at the end.
Right? Yeah, definitely.
They're,
It's gonna be interesting.
yeah.
Can't wait. It's gonna be a late night on Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh,
It
well,
is.
but now we're getting back to the best part, because I ended up taking an extra page of fucking notes after this. So back to our episode, because we
I
moved
wonder
right,
what happened.
we moved right on to predictions. So Xavier decided not to use the veto on Kyland
Smart.
or Azza.
Mhm.
So it was up to Big D to decide who he was going to evict. So he said that he was going to evict Kyland. I made a note that said, bye, Kai. And then a whole other page of notes came right behind it because Kyland was not having it. He was fucking shocked. But he didn't look shocked. But then when he started talking, we were like, oh, please stop talking.
Right? Oh my God.
Go
I was
out
just
on a
like-
high note, Kyland.
I was like, you know what? For somebody who played it relatively cool for the entire season, I was like, you literally just set a fucking dumpster fire on your entire game. That's what you
Honestly.
just did. You were just like, fuck it, I'm burning it all down.
Yeah. it was
I mean,
great.
you know, it definitely ruins his chances of, you know, America's favorite player.
That's what I thought too. I was like, dude, like, you want
Yeah,
to
you might be getting voted out, but there's still another prize that's still at bay here.
Yeah.
But I think he just kind of ruined his chances on that one.
I think so too. He said, well, like, I think he's been keeping his, like Crystal said, keeping his emotions in check for so long that he finally just couldn't handle it and he went with his emotions, but it was the worst possible time.
I was so disappointed.
And he said to X, so he gets voted out and he stands up. You can see he's fuming because he's like still kind of drinking his smoothie. Like, and he said to X, why? No heads up. And you can see he's trying to maintain calm. And then my next note was, this is so awkward
Mhm.
because Xavier's like, you'll see it's part of the game. And Xavier's not trying to say anything either. Like, I think Xavier was probably also feeling kind of like, oh my God, like this is happening. He's finally gone. And then he said, it's part of the game. I can't win against you. Like, he did finally say that when Kai kept pushing him. But I just made more notes. I said, he's so bitter. And then he called X out. And then he started to talk about X's nephew not having someone to look up to. Now that is where
That's a low blow. You know, at the end of the day, it is a game.
Yeah.
You know, you can't bring in people's personal lives and family members into that component of it. You really can't.
That was fucking dirty.
It was low. It was very, very low. And then like, because I really think he could have even redeemed himself, even if he just had to have a fight in there with X. Like, man, we're supposed to be final two. Like, I'm pissed off, whatever. Like, why'd you do this? It was a bad decision. You made us, even if he was like, you just made a $750,000 mistake. Like, all of those are things that are about the game. But when he started bringing up that his nephew now doesn't, you're not a good person because you did this. Your nephew
Right?
to look up to, like, that is gonna sour the world, like America's opinion on him, right? And again, it's the heat of the moment. I think he's gonna struggle after he leaves the house with those words. Like, I think he's gonna have some regret.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you know, I've seen a couple of his kind of interviews, you know, before, like when he leaves the house, but before he gets to jury. And a couple of them are, you know, he's like, no, I said what I said. I said the truth. You know, I don't need to apologize. So, you know, I guess he's standing behind what he's saying.
Until he sees it himself and goes, oh,
Well, that's the thing, right? When he sees that,
watch.
that's a whole other thing, right?
Yeah.
Have you finished watching your season yet?
No, I'm still a few episodes away. I'm working on it.
Piece by piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought he was so bitter. I couldn't believe it. And then I made a few notes about how happy I was. So I said, I'm so happy he's gone. He's a person who can give it, that can't take it. He was he went out like a silky baby.
Yeah.
Who is it? Mike Lynch, our local comedian.
Yeah.
It goes, what are you, a silky baby?
Yeah.
I mean, that was dead on. That was a great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Newfies will quite understand that. Anybody who's not from Newfoundland is probably fast forwarded this a while ago. Yeah. So basically, another note about Kyland, I just said, I can't believe he reacted that way because he would cut Big D in a heartbeat, but then he got upset because X cut him. So what it is that he thought that him and X were on the same page. X and Big D had a final two. X and Kylan had a final two. Kylan and Big D had a final two. Kylan and Xavier had a final two. So like,
So I mean, what's the difference, right? Like,
exactly.
it really doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that he got caught.
He's
But did you see him take a ring off his finger and put it in his pocket during the apparently
I'm gonna go back.
apparently DF had given him a ring as almost like
Like a showman's.
no, not a showman's. I think it was kind of like, take my ring, I'm gonna keep you, or I don't know. It was something maybe with the final two, or I don't know what it was. But anyways, he didn't give it back to him. And apparently, from what I hear, it was DF's father's ring.
Oh.
So I don't know.
Good luck.
I don't know what the whole
finding
story is on that. So I'm just kind of putting out there what I think. But
Allegedly.
I'm not 100% sure. I got to get the details on it.
Yeah. Oh, I gotcha.
But we think this is what happened, allegedly.
Allegedly, this is
That's
what possibly happened.
But purely conjecture on our part.
That's crazy. He better give that back to him after like finale. Probably at finale. They'll all be friends again. I say that because I made another note about how cringy he is. I was like, Kylan is just cringy right now. It was difficult. And
What's
then
with the sniffing? Let's go back to that. What's
Oh,
with the
yeah.
sniffing?
Oh my God.
tortillas and stuff, like smelling everything in the house.
Dude, I nearly died because I'm like sitting there and I'm watching him and he's just like sniffing all the things, but then he's like face and eyes like this into the tortillas and his nose was all over. And then he put him back in the bag.
The face on X was hilarious. He was like,
yeah.
"Oh, so I'm glad I'm eating mine right now."
Yeah.
I
Like,
don't know, just
okay, I also know that like the way that they edit things can make it look like it's worse than it is. But that
that
was
was not worse.
that was
a lot.
bad.
That was just like, why?
Yeah. Well, like I've sniffed food before I made it before to be like, is this meat gone bad? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Absolutely.
okay, but I'm not like rubbing it on my face.
And then putting it back in the bag for somebody else to eat it.
It doesn't make
Shit, I had my time back. I got a couple of tortilla shells up there. I should have brought a couple down and kind of slapped them on my face. Right.
Yes. Next time. We still got
Or cut out Crystal could have been.
All up in it.
we should have done that to Crystal at the bar. Got her to like sniff the nachos and stuff. All right, we'll take her out again this week. We'll take her out again.
Oh yeah, we will.
You're
She'll
not
go out
invited,
again.
Crystal. You're from now on, you're not invited anymore. We're only gonna take cardboard Crystal.
You guys.
Last note that I did have. Oh no, not the last note. Before our predictions, we did predictions, but in X's goodbye. So we watch Kylan and his cringy interview with Julie, and then we see his goodbye messages. And Xavier's goodbye message said that can't wait to be friends on the outside of the house. And I was just watching it going, not anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because I guess like Jason had even said to me, he was just like, after what he just said to him, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that they actually record them beforehand as a just in case whoever gets voted out.
Yeah.
So that's what Julie says, right? They're recorded in advance in the event that you were the one who got voted out. So
Well, because
Right.
years ago, so this whole live event,
He was pushing for a callback too when he sat out there with
oh
Julie.
yes,
Do you remember that?
he went straight to it.
oh man.
shit.
Julie, I'd like to come back and have another chance to play this game, because he got in the seat and was like, well, fuck, I made some bad moves.
I don't know. I honestly don't think he kind of comprehends that he made a couple of bad moves.
No, I don't think so.
I just don't think he's seeing that side of it.
Mhm.
For somebody who's so self-aware, he's really not very self-aware, is he?
Certain things, no.
You know, because he's always like in the house, he's very like, you need to take a minute, we're having this discussion, you need to look at it this way, and he's very like, I don't know, working on it. He's working
I
on it.
mean, is there a fine line between self-awareness and self-absorption? Who's to say?
You know what, I think you hit the nail right on the head. I think that's what it is. I think it's more of a I'm amazing vibe, as opposed to like, I know what I'm doing is wrong. It's I know what you're doing is wrong, and I want to tell it to you in a condescending way
Mhm.
to, until you agree with me or leave the room.
Right.
Okay. So we did a couple of predictions for like finale, But who do we think is going to win America's favorite?
Tiffany.
I think so too.
Oh, I was thinking Derek F actually.
No, Tiffany.
I think Tiffany as well. And I think if there are runner-ups, we'll say it would be, are you writing it down? Or are you checking for?
I'm checking.
Yeah, because Derek F was, I think, my prediction in the beginning.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Also mine.
Yours too. Yeah. What was Tina's?
Tina said either Hannah or Tiffany.
Oh, and I still
Gotta be
think
Tiffany.
both- I think both are good in the running. I do think it's going to be Tiff. I think second place could be probably Derek F or Derek X.
I think it's going to be between Tiffany, Derek X, and I honestly think Claire is going to be in there as well.
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
take the top three, that'd be my top three with Tiffany winning.
This was there were a lot of good players this season. Like there are so many possibilities who, if they won America's favorite, you'd be like, oh yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
You know what I mean?
There was a lot of people that could have been definitely a favorite. And I mean, up until this last 2 weeks, I guess I probably would have said Kylan could have made it.
Absolutely,
Honestly.
absolutely. Yeah,
He shit the bed on that one.
yeah.
Yeah, he burned that check.
Oh man.
Oh,
But it's going to be exciting.
it's
Yeah.
gonna be a big show. So it's on, Crystal, you said it's on later Wednesday, is that right? So it's on
Yeah.
a regular
It's on tonight. I think it's regular time tonight, but on Wednesday for us, because again, we're in Newfoundland, so
we have our
know.
own time zone.
It probably starts at 10:30 because Survivor
does.
comes on at 9:30.
Yeah,
Oh,
it comes
yeah.
on at 10:30 and it's a 2-hour episode. So it runs until midnight, which really just means I'll watch it Thursday.
Yeah, so you guys will get our feedback. Well, I'm gonna have to watch it Wednesday because
Yeah. You don't want any spoilers. Yeah.
finale I have to see. My notes might not make a whole lot of sense, and then we'll record
Right.
on Thursday for you guys to hear how we feel about everything because it's gonna be a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Oh, I'll have to watch it without Jason.
oh, yeah. We won't tell him. He'll never know. Just be really surprised when you watch it again.
That's right. He'll never know unless he listens to the podcast and then he realizes that he heard about the podcast. No? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't
he
think.
doesn't listen to us. If he
Hey,
does it on the down low. Drew
Yeah,
did
he'd never tell me.
to us. He would have been mad at me long ago.
Right?
I air everything out to the world. He would have been like, I can't believe we were talking about this online. That's a really good impression of him, by the way, Tina. I know you don't
Yeah.
know. That sounded just like him. Except for he'd be like, I can't believe we were talking about me online. Also, I love Nickelback. So there's a long running joke for everybody who's still listening. I really appreciate it. Follow along. Stay with me. My husband loves heavy metal. He like plays electric guitar. He's been into music since he was like a kid. He's obsessed with heavy metal. Like that's his band. And then old like rock and roll. Like he likes rock, he likes metal, he likes, guitars. So we have an inside running joke that he likes Nickelback because Nickelback is supposed to be like, very douchey. I guess like a douchey band. It's like a world known joke that Nickelback is like a douchey band to enjoy. I like Nickelback. I'm just gonna say it. And we always make fun of my husband because he's so heavy metal that we're like, oh yeah, Drew's favorite band is Nickelback. But it's to the point now where he like he's super annoyed by it.
Literally, she kept it up one weekend to the point where he just turned on her. He was like, Melissa, give it up. You're ruining my life.
You're ruining my life. So now my daughter, she like listens to like I have like a playlist that every time she hears a song she likes, I'll add it to like her playlist and we drive with the car on. So you've probably seen some of the Instagram stories where I'm like, what do you want to listen to? And it's either like NSYNC or Lady Gaga lately. Like that's what she's into right now. But Photograph is on it. And I'm like, who sings this? She goes, Nickelbacker. And I'm like, and who is that? And she goes, Daddy's favorite. So I'm really corrupting her so that the joke lives on for a few more years.
And ever.
Absolutely.
And ever.
Anyway, so that being said, my last note about Big Brother is that I absolutely loved watching the final three drink champagne. It gives me so much joy to see like people make it far. So I mean, to see them in the final three seat and like having their champagne and cheersing and bye Kai, like that's a cool moment.
yeah.
I firmly believe there should be a final, like a third place. That's how I feel about it.
It's hard
maybe not
to,
a
like,
huge
I mean,
amount.
you get to the finale night itself, and then if you come third, you're like, wow,
Nothing.
Bye, guys.
Right?
You kind of like walk out with your head held down.
Dude, if I got third and they gave me $5,000, I'd be pumped.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
Even like-
something.
a coupon for Skip the Dishes for a year.
Seriously.
Although that would amount to,
Seriously.
it would be way more than $5,000 if I had a coupon for like. have to
Well,
put
like
it in.
literally every time I order Skip the Dishes, it's like $100. There's like 5 people in this house. So
While we're throwing it out there, while we're at the end of this episode, we probably got 5 people still listening. Big Brother producers, because I know you're listening. I would like to throw out this suggestion for Big Brother Canada, because so they always get sponsored by like Skip the Dishes and they have like food delivered to them. I think HelloFresh should also sponsor Big Brother Canada. So HelloFresh, if you're listening, do that. And I think that 3 days a week they should have to make HelloFresh meals. It could be like this wicked ad for HelloFresh. They could be cooking up delicious meals in the house. And then, they still have the Skip the Dishes for like slop passes. Like when people are on slop, give them Skip the Dishes for a day. So
or HOH wins.
you're welcome. No, that's Wendy's.
Oh yeah, right.
We're talking Canada here. I don't know if I explained that.
You said
Anybody who's like a
Canada.
US Big Brother fan is gonna be like, what the fuck are these girls talking about?
That's right.
I'm just throwing out a little suggestion there. You can take it. You're welcome.
I'm like, that's basically our entire premise of our show. Like,
Is what?
what are these girls talking about?
Oh yeah. That's what it should be called. Say what?
Yeah, there you go. Say what?
Say what? What do they mean?
What you saying?
What was
Right?
one of our names before we had a name? One thing we looked at, we were going to be off on a tangent,
Yeah.
and that one was taken. And we were also going to call ourselves Off Topic, and that was also taken because we just never stay on track.
No, I've actually come to realize that.
Oh really?
have.
Just now?
Yeah, no, it's kind of okay. First, just a little bit. No, everything just kind of.
We're a random podcast. You're
I
welcome.
love it though. I love it. You know what? It adds to the dynamic of it all. Love it.
Thank you, Tina. See, that's why you're our
Appreciate it.
favorite third on a pod.
Right?
See?
You're our third noof on the pod. So you are going to come on our regular episodes after this season of Big Brother. Only when we're talking about sexual things, though, right? You said?
She's froze again.
Oh, anybody listening knows that Tina's like, might be on your podcast sometime. I know you're not frozen. All right, folks. All right. Do we have anything to add for Thursday's episode or like tonight's predictions or anything?
No, I think, well, I mean, we could, if you want, what do you predict who's going to win the first part of the HOH?
X.
Yeah, 100%. Without
100%. And then I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah,
It'll
agree.
come down to X and Oz in the final.
I
Yeah.
think we're all on the same page with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, so who's winning final HOH? I kind of want Oz to win now. I do.
I know. I really throw things for a loop, right? It would be like one of the, oh my freaking God, that just happened.
And I think that the
And-
jury would have a harder time deciding, which
Definitely.
would make for great television.
It would. Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
wouldn't expect it. I think they'd
Mhm.
be like,
No, I think that's right. I think knowing that who's in the final 3,
Yeah.
they're going to assume that if X is sitting there, he's gonna win.
Yep.
But hey, you never know. Stranger things have happened.
Still anyone's game.
yeah. Okay. All right. On that, we're going to dance our way out. I'm so pumped for tonight's episode. I said I was going to take my kid to the park today, but now I just want to like sit in front of the TV and wait for it to come on. I'm like, I'm going to have to go to the park. We're going to have to kill some time. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
okay. Well, that being said, I'm going to click the dance button and we're going to boogie. Bye.
Bye.